Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the Best Today podcast. I am your host, Shantae Grant. And today I want to talk to you about 4 of the primary causes of your frustration and what to do about each one of them. So I have almost for a decade now been working with thousands of humans across the globe. And when I go back and I look, even from when I started to now, and I think about the things that people bring to me to get help with, usually as it relates to their time, their life, there are these commonalities that I consistently see that lead to frustration. And so I'm going to talk to you about those 4 things. And if it's frustration doesn't feel like the word that describes you, you can also replace that with things that have you feeling tired, the O word, as I called it, overwhelmed, feeling burnt out. And really all of that leads to a general frustration. And sometimes you don't even know what it is. You're just like, oh, I'm just so frustrated. And I don't even really, right? If you've ever been there, I'd love to hear from you after you listen to this episode, which of the 4, if any, really were the thing that touched you and helped you to see yourself. So please let me know. I always like to hear back. I love your feedback. So you can do that one of 2 ways. One, you can send us a message at besttoday.co/voice. Or 2, you can post it in the Best Today community. So actually there are 3 things, 3 ways. 2, post it in the Best Today community. We love having conversations over there. If you're not in the Best Today community, you can go to besttodaycommunity.com. That is an app that we have that we created, a safe community for Best Today customers, Best Today supporters, Best Today believers, those of you who are basically trying to live a life of intention and want support along the way. And number 3, you can text us 404-737-1002. That does work for all of you who have United numbers here in the United States. So if you're out of the country, then 1 or 2 are going to be what you can do. Okay. So besttoday.co/voice. Post in the community or text us 404-737-1002. Okay. Because I'd love to hear from you. Let's get straight into these 4 causes of your frustration and then also what we can do about them. Okay. They're in no particular order. So we'll start with number 1. Number 1 is trying to operate outside of your season. Okay. I have said this probably over 1,000 times on this podcast already, but I believe that when we live an intentional life, a core component, a necessary component is honoring the season that you are in. Okay. Honor the season you are in. It is a part of your capacity. I talked about capacity in episode 102, how to establish and honor your capacity. We'll link to that in the show notes, but honoring your season means really getting clear on what your season allows, what your season of life requires, and what it has the capacity for, which means also showing you what it does not have the capacity for, because it doesn't have the capacity for anything outside of this is what this season has capacity for. And I understand as humans, sometimes you don't like limitations. You don't like boundaries. You like looking at what everybody else is doing and thinking you can piece and pull different things from other people's lives and incorporating yours because it looks cool. It looks like a good idea. It looks fun, but you have to honor your season. Now, I'd be remiss if I didn't also mention the other 2 components of intentional living, which is to know who you are and know what you want. The third being honoring your season of life. But it has to become a boundary that honors and protects you. That's the thing I want to make sure you're aware of. Honoring your season, right? Being really clear on this is where I am right now. And seasons can last. You could be in a seasons are temporary. That's the thing that makes them season. But you can be in a season that lasts 6 months, 6 years, 3 weeks. It's so understand that seasons do change. And that's why it's so important to be aware of what it is, what yours is. But it becomes a beautiful boundary. A boundary protects you. And it also honors you because now you can say, wow, this is my season. And look at the space that I have within this season, as opposed to look at all the things I can't do. Right. I teach a fantastic series and workshop on honoring your season. If you'd ever be interested in having me to do that for your group, your team, your organization, your event, you can get information on how to do that by going to shantaegrant.com. That's shantaegrant.com, shuntaggrant.com, because it really is very, very important component of living with intention. So if you find yourself looking at other people, and you get bitten by the comparison bug quite often, I want you to understand that your season is yours and you cannot compare yourself, your life, your resources to someone who isn't you, not even someone who isn't in a similar season, because our seasons are also nuanced based on the nuance of our own lives, desires, needs, resources. So if you find yourself consistently frustrated, I want you to ask yourself today, am I operating or trying to operate outside of my season? Or even if I'm not, am I mentally trying to operate outside of my season? Like I'm staying within the confines, but I keep making my mind go into, I wish I could do that. Or I want to do that. Or this looks cool. I'm going to try this thing. And none of that falls within your season. Okay, so that's number one, trying to operate out of your season. And the solution is honoring your season by getting clear on what your season has capacity for, what it requires, and then honoring that. Okay. Number two, I call this looking directly at the sun, right? If you go outside right now, please don't do this, and you look up and you look directly at the sun, it can blind you. And that's what so many people are doing. They're looking at all the pieces. They're looking at all the things that they think need to be done for whether it's work, whether it's life, whether it's probably all the things, instead of looking at the next or first step. You're looking at all the different pieces or looking at all the pieces and then the parts you don't even know. I don't even know what this piece is supposed to look like. I don't know what I'm supposed to do here. I don't have this information. I'm not sure about what that's supposed to do. Once I get here, I don't know what I do after that. And that's not today's problem. What to do after you do X is not today's problem because you haven't even done X. Narrow your focus, right? You keep looking at the big picture, but after you have the big picture, you got to stop looking at it and move down now to the small, tiny steps in front of you. So the solution to the frustration of you keep looking at all the big pictures and what you don't have and what's missing, and or maybe you think I know all the pieces, but it's just so much. There's just so much to do. Stop. Look at the step that you're in or on, or the one in front of you. You likely don't have all the information you need anyway to look beyond the step you are in, because even if you think you know what's next, sometimes, many times, you get what you need for the next step while you're actually working on the present and current step, because you're going to become a different person. You're going to acquire more information, more data. You're going to evolve. So stop looking directly at the sun. Stop looking at all the parts. Oh, I have to do all of this. Even when you preview your week. Okay, I've previewed my week, right? But now I'm not going to focus on, oh, look at all the things coming up this week. It's just what's today? What's today? And then I will take care of tomorrow when tomorrow is today. If tomorrow isn't today, it's not today's problem. If tomorrow isn't today, it's not today's problem. Today is today. Is today is today. So stop looking at all the pieces, all the questions, all the things, and narrow your focus to what is right now in front of you, and give that the excellence that you have to give to it, and then take the next step. Okay. That's number two. Reason you're frustrated because you're trying to look at all the different pieces. You're thinking your mind, again, you're giving your mind that energy, all that energy, or what's the word I'm looking for? You're exerting all that mental energy. That's what I want to say, on thinking past where you are right now. And I need you to hone that in. Okay. Because that will lead to frustration, and also just mental exhaustion. Okay. Number three is you're looking for immediate gratification and overnight returns. And it's frustrating when it doesn't happen, which most things in life, you're not going to get immediate gratification and overnight returns. I need you to understand the importance of playing the long game, which is funny. The very first episode of this podcast, which was over 2017. So 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. Hold on. 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. 6 years ago, over 6 years ago, I sat down for the very first podcast episode. At that time, this podcast was called Business, Life, and Joy. And I talked about principles. And one of the first principles, if not the first one I talked about, is big picture, long game. Sis is still talking about the same thing 6 years ago. I tell you, consistency has nothing on me. Consistency comes to me when it needs consulting. Okay. I am consistent, if nothing else. You got to play the long game. You have to understand that every day isn't going to feel like or be like crossing the finish line or graduation. The journey is the best part, which I say so often. If you're in need of gratification, if that's the kind of person you are, you're always seeking that gratification, let me help you by even just thinking about, okay, well, what will gratify me? Let's stop waiting for the finish line to be gratified. Let it be in allowing yourself to be human in a journey, moving slow and steady one day at a time. Let that be so satisfying. I'm not talking about complacency, okay? Let it be gratifying that you are on a journey and that clearly if you're going from 1 to 15, you can celebrate 1 to 1.5 because you now have made some progress. You've done something that has moved you 0.5 from where you were, and now you know something that you might not have known at 1. At Best Today, we exist to help women just like you be your best one today at a time. So each week on the podcast, we are going to highlight your stories and your voices. So let's see what's in the inbox today. Today, we have a 5-star review from Sarah reviewing our manual, teaching you how to preview, plan your months, weeks, and days. And Sarah writes in her 5-star review, simple, easy, refreshing. Like many others, I've been using the Best Today guide to help plan out my weeks and most of my days. I was getting anxious looking at my next month, so using this guide to start the process was amazing. I love that it condenses so many tips from Shantae into one simple, easy-to-use product. Having the examples was great, and it helped me reinforce and return to positive ways of building my days. I have started sketching out my evening routines too, thanks to this guide, and that has been awesome. I really loved going through it and will return to it again and again. Thank you so much, Sarah. And if you have not downloaded the manual right now, it's 22 pages. It's teaching you how to preview and plan your months, weeks, and days. But I don't just teach you how to do it. I give you examples of each step for the month, for your weeks, and for your days, and actual mock-ups of what it looks like lived out in real life. You want this manual by your side. So go right now to besttoday.co/C-Tone. That's C-T-O-N-E, which stands for the C-Tone method. I teach you to preview your months and your weeks. Go right now, download it today. You get it immediately after you make your purchase. So go to besttoday.co/C-Tone and get this manual and find out why so many people are finding that this is the initial first step they have needed and been missing. So get yours today by going to besttoday.co/C-Tone. And thank you for your 5-star review, Sarah. Let the journey be gratifying. I have an episode about that, I believe. I'll find it and link it in the show notes that talks about the journey. I think it talks about gratification as well. I'll link it in the show notes to today's episode. But celebrate one today at a time. I also link, there's an episode where I talk about the importance of small steps, right? The more you can train your mind to think this way of, I'm going to allow each day to be each day and not require every moment of my life to feel like crossing the finish line, and understand really that the only way the person crosses the finish line is because of who they had to become to get to the finish line. I celebrate the person at the finish line for all the things they did before crossing it, because that was necessary. But so many people are like, oh, I'm celebrating because you made it to the end. But it wasn't the end. It was the things you did to get you there. Does that make sense? Right? We don't celebrate someone on at a graduation. Graduation's on my mind because I have graduations coming up for family members. But you don't just stand there and clap for them for walking across the stage. You're not celebrating the walking across the stage. You're celebrating, wow, for 4 years, 3 years, 8 years, however many years, you stayed steady to reach this. Please stop looking for immediate gratification. It is going to leave you frustrated and also is going to choke your confidence, your will to keep going. So please understand that immediate gratification and overnight returns, seeking those and seeking that high is what's causing your frustration. And if you can train your mind to think this way and understand the truth of the journey is the gift, it will help to remove the frustration of thinking you should see overnight results with everything. And remember that some things, they work the first time. Some things do. You're like, whoa, tried that, worked great. But most things don't. Some things won't work until take 10, take 100, on the 1085th try, right? So keep going. Eating one quote unquote healthy meal isn't going to change your health overnight. But the consistency of choosing healthy food to put in your body, the principle of I'm going to make health choices that every day putting something in my body that I know is linked to, it will have positive benefits. The principle and who you are becoming as a result of making better health choices consistently, that is going to do something. That is going to bring about a change. But you have to trust that your good choices are going to compound. And they are compounding even when you don't see the results immediately. So stop giving up when you don't see immediate results and stay in it, or you'll never see them, right? You'll quit or you'll be spotty with it, and you're not going to see results from spotty work. You need to be consistent. And only way to do that is to understand that you have to drop the immediate gratification and looking for overnight returns, because you doing that, and someone listening right now is like, it's me. It's leaving you frustrated. Okay. So that's number 3. You're looking for immediate gratification and overnight returns. The solution that we're going to do instead is understand that the process is really where the gratification is, because I am going to be consistent even when I don't see the result, because I'm actually not chasing the result. I'm chasing the health benefits, whatever it is that's going to benefit my life, and understanding that that doesn't come without the work. It does not come without the effort. It does not come without the work. It does not come without the effort. I want to say that a lot of times because I want you to understand that. Okay. So that's number 3. And number 4, you doing too much. You are #team too much. You are moving outside of your capacity, and you're likely doing things that don't fit or honor your season. Back to what we're talking about in number 1. So team too much is a result of believing the lie that you have to do all the things all the time. I have to be doing these things. I have to volunteer. I have to be on this board. I have to have these extracurriculars. I have to do that. I got to do that. Oh, I got to stay in the know about this. Oh, I have to watch that show. Well, everyone's talking about this thing, so I need to watch it. Everyone's buying this thing, so I need to go buy it. And on and on and on. Doing all these things to prove that you're either a good person, a person who's important, a person who's relevant. When again, that takes me back to another episode. Your life is not on trial. I'll link to that in the show notes as well. That episode that talks about making decisions to prove who you are. That's episode 108. Your life is not on trial. I'll link to that in the show notes as well. I need you to understand that you're probably doing too much, and that's why you're frustrated. Look at what you're doing. And again, if you go back just to number 1, that might help you to identify these things. But trying to do so many things, because guess what? There's so many things I would love to do. Like so many, y'all. But my life is really simple. And I'm not telling you to do what I'm doing. It's always about the principle, not about what the principle looks like in my life. Okay. So let's be clear. But my life is really simple because of the season that I'm in. There are so many things, so many that I would just love to do, but it's not within my capacity, and it is outside of the borders of my current season of life, based on the way my life is, based on my family structure, based on the work that I have chosen, based on all of these different things. And I understand that. And now that I accept that to be, I make a beautiful life with what I have and how I have it, because I chose it all, right? I chose it because it mattered to me, because I was clear on who I am and what I wanted. And because of that, while there are these things I can tell you I would love to do, they don't occupy my mind. They don't occupy anything, because it's outside of my season. I'm aware of it, so that when seasons change, or if space opens, I can bring it into the box that says, what can fit in this season. But I understand what's important, and I only make time for that, so that I'm not doing too much, but also so that the things I am doing matter. Because you know what's important? Sleep, rest, stillness, space in your day and your life for the things that matter most. which sometimes require you to have space and capacity so you got to leave some space. Stop trying to do it all the time. And again, I'm going to refer you back to episode 102, how to establish and honor your capacity. So that's number 4. Maybe you're frustrated because you're just doing too much and you need to prune. It's time to pull out those pruning shears and really start figuring out what you need to say no to, temporarily or permanently. Okay. So those are the 4 things. Number 1, you're trying to operate outside of your season. Number 2, you're looking directly at the sun, meaning you're looking at all the parts and getting the O word, overwhelmed by it all, which is crippling you from moving. And of course, it's also frustrating you. Number 3, you're looking for immediate gratification and overnight returns. And those 2 episodes that I wanted to refer you to are episode 99, Let It Be Small, how every big thing happened because of the power of small, and episode 26, why gratification is necessary for the journey. So make sure you go back and listen to those, go on and save them wherever you listen to podcasts and come back to those as well. And number 4, you're doing too much. These are the primary causes of your frustration, but I'm giving you, if you go back and listen, solutions on how to turn it around. Please come and share with me either by texting 404-737-1002, posting the Best Today community, or leaving us a message at besttoday.co/voice to let me know, did one of these 4 or all of them or any combination speak directly to you? I always love hearing from you. So please remember to reach back out. This podcast is made free for you. But it is the beginning of a conversation. And so if I'm sitting at lunch with you and I'm talking to you like I am right now, you wouldn't just sit there and listen and walk away. You'd talk back to me. So please text us, send us a post in Best Today community, or leave us a voice message, because that's your end of this conversation. Thank you so much for being present with me for this week's episode of the Best Today podcast. Until next time, remember, you are capable and worthy of being your best, one today at a time. And I want you to remember that you have everything you need to have everything you want. So go on and shout it out as you live it out. This is what my best today looks like. And I will talk to you on the next episode. Go back and listen to the episodes I referenced. Episode 26, Why Gratification is Necessary. Episode 99, Let It Be Small. Episode 102, on honoring your capacity. And episode 108, Your Life is Not on Trial. Talk to you later. If you enjoyed this week's episode of the Best Today podcast, you are going to love the Best Today Guide. Our Better Than a Planner guide teaches you how to get clear on what you want, identify your self-destructive habits and behaviors, and intentionally create space to prioritize yourself every single day. Don't go the journey to being your best one today at a time without the Best Today Guide. See inside its pages and order yours today at besttodayguide.com. Even better, when you order the Best Today Guide, we gift you with your first month free inside of the Best Today membership. So what are you waiting for? We're giving you everything you need to trade busy for intention. Go to besttodayguide.com and order yours today and join thousands of women across the globe proclaiming each day, this is what my best today looks like.